Hello, hello, here we go. It's the Cop-Eye Podcast.
What is happening, Reds? Welcome back to another Cop-Eye Podcast and the match review, as early as it is 11 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock if you live in fancy countries like Matt does. But yeah, we're here to have a little chat about yesterday's very good 2-0 win. I'm Mick and I'm joined by Matt once again. How are we doing, lad?
I'm all right. Yourself? Just a bit tired.
Yeah, good. You sound a bit hungover, lad. You okay?
I'm great.
I love it. But yeah, we said on the last one we'll keep it short as possible, and then like 50 minutes later we were still there, just sucked into the comments. So let's try not do that because I want to go and get out of the house and have a little walk and stretch my legs and that because it's a Sunday after all. So let's get stuck into it then. Obviously, let's not talk about the game, but in terms of like before the game when the team news came out, I mean, we touched on obviously, me and you were on the preview show and we were like, yeah, giving it the beans, going, these are going to start midfield, these are going to start up front, and then we were like in the WhatsApp group going, nah, we were wrong, and it was a good wrong because we both said Bobby will start and he didn't, and Jota scored, and we said obviously we didn't predict. I don't think anyone would have predicted Harvey Elliott started, but he did. And but yeah, how did you feel when that news came out, the team news?
I feel like that lineup mugged me off so badly that I was sort of tempted to message you to remove the video.
Just in case.
What I thought was a great case for Bobby starting, and then I think I took it as far to say that Elliott wouldn't get his first start until Salah was off on AFCON duty.
Yeah, you did.
And the next day, Bobby's on the bench and Elliott's like starting. But I was glad that he was starting, to be fair. He played really well. It's always exciting seeing a teenager being thrust into the first team, and Klopp doesn't just do that to be nice. He does it because he deserves it, and mate, he was quality. And Jota obviously opened the scoring, and so I mean his decisions were justified.
Yeah, I was in the ground at the time, got there nice and early because I thought, fuck messing around with the technology and let's get in there and get a pint and whatever and just chill. Yeah. But team news was good. Obviously made up for Jota that Keita started again, which was nice to see as well. And then obviously Hendo starting as well. Probably went under the radar a little bit because everyone was so surprised by Elliott starting. But yeah, like you said, Jota, 18 minutes. We're 1-0 up already, and nice build up down the left hand side. Nice little back heel by Naby and Tsimikas. The ball was great, but the run and the awareness by Jota to make that dart in front of Ben Mee was just that's just proves just how good he is as an all rounder, doesn't it?
Yeah, and for all the arguments we made about Bobby on Friday for why he should start, that run is something that Bobby wouldn't have done. That's pure Diogo Jota. That's what was in the side to do. He's more direct in that sense. He's more of a, even though he's not exactly a striker, he's more of a striker. And obviously, if you're going to beat Burnley in the air, it's because you're going to make cute, smart runs because they're quite aerially dominant. I think it's no shock to say that. So the fact that we scored a header against Burnley is impressive, and the fact that Jota made that run, it's exciting how we started the season because we were sort of calling out for someone to help Mo with the goal scoring load, and he started on fire. And the little movements he's making, how efficient he is, who has been in front of goal so far, it bodes well for us. It's sort of shutting up the people that think that we still need to go out and buy another striker because, I mean, he's flying.
Yeah, he's boss. I mean, let's just have a look at the comments here because the rivalry aside, in with a little chat. Nice one for jumping on, lad. 15 goals and 21 starts by the Slaughter. Heavy him. And yeah, I mean, fucking hell, after the game, I got back and I had a little look at his stats since he joined the Reds, and that was his 50. Obviously, like rivalry aside says there, his 15th goal in his 32nd game. And I just thought I'll approach the lad who had done the stat show with Michael Reid, who does all Opta Joe stats and whatever for goals per minute, and he's second in Liverpool's history for best mins to goal ratio. Obviously, that's, I think, anyone over 30 apps, because obviously if you're under that, it's not really a fair reflection. But yeah, Fred Pagnam, I think he was like around in like the 1890s or whatever, or early 1900s, 117 minutes per goal. Diogo Jota, 127 minutes per goal. And then you go up to John Aldridge, 130, Mo Salah, 134, Torres, 135, Suarez, 138, Sturridge, 140. So
He's in good company.
He's currently got a better goal to minutes ratio than those players, which is, I mean, if he keeps that up, like we just said, he's just an absolute. He's just slotted, isn't he? He just knows where the goal is, and he's just got that. Yeah, he's just. I mean, obviously we didn't probably realise it when we signed him, but just how much of a goal threat he is, and how intelligent he is.
Yeah, I mean, when we signed him, I think we made a pod, and I think I remember me saying that he fits the system in terms of he's a pressing forward, like he'll do the dirty work. But I didn't realise how effective he'd be when we had the ball. I thought he'd be one of these guys that sort of hassles and harries, but like a dirt cow, wins the ball back and then lays it off to the Manes, the Salahs to do the magic. But he's got the dirty side in him, and then he's got that beautiful edge that gets us the goals. And I don't want to big him up too much because obviously he's on his second season at Liverpool and he's got a lot to live up to in terms of the names that you've listed there. But genuinely feel like if he would have come from a Atletico Madrid or a Barcelona instead of a Wolves, then there'd be a lot more hype around Diogo Jota from other fans. It's just because he's come from Wolves, it's just like, well, he's doing okay.
Yeah, and I think it's. I mean, we obviously, like you said, it's his second season. We don't want to big him up too much, but if he keeps that up, I mean, don't think he's 25 till December, I think. So fucking hell, he's still so young, and he can be what we've brought him in for to be that next line of when obviously the three main lads kind of get to where they are maybe over the next couple of years. He's definitely brought him in at the right time to be like a natural successor to one of them, which is just perfect, isn't it?
And additionally, the fact that he plays last year he played a lot off the left, and this year the 2 games he started, he's been central. And what that does, I suppose, is because he's so different to Bobby, is that when teams are sort of planning to play against Liverpool, you sort of need 2 plans. You can't just focus on one defensive plan, because if the lineup comes in and you were planning for Jota and all of a sudden Bobby's there, it's a completely different prospect. So it's sort of making, I think at least, other managers think twice when it comes to preparing against Liverpool, because you don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, the more strings to our bow we've got, the better, innit? Like Klopp prides himself on that unpredictability around the team, and Diogo Jota, and obviously we're going to come on to Harvey Elliott as well in a bit. He also provides that. I think I took a screenshot of Klopp's face when he was talking about Harvey Elliott, and it was just fucking hilarious that he was so happy. But rather reassured, I just put in a comment in there saying it's Luis Suarez-esque, the runs that Jota does. Yeah, I completely agree with that. Paul's in the comments. Hi lads, hi Paul, how you doing, lad? Nice one for jumping on so early. Let's go to this other comment from Dan. Thanks again, Dan, for jumping in. Always there, always sound. Genuinely thought with Fabinho out and Milner out that Henderson would play 6 and would give Elliott a chance in midfield, with him being the link between midfield and attack, less need to start Bobby. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Because I mean, we just said before we were surprised, and I'm sure every person, every supporter would be surprised that Elliott got the nod yesterday, but he did so well, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look out of place, which is a sort of the biggest thing. And I mean, when we come against Burnley, it was a big physical side, and you saw how they were kind of rough. Klopp didn't like it, but they were kind of rough, and Elliott was taking a lot of hits, but he kept getting up, and he made a good account for himself, and well, he provides the assist to the assist for the second goal. He was very, very dangerous, and that sort of creative midfielder that everyone says Liverpool needs. Well, he did perfectly. So I've got no complaints with his performance. That he was brilliant.
Yeah, I think it just obviously it fell his way perfect, didn't it? Because obviously Fab wasn't going to play. It would have been a shock if he did. Obviously, we've heard the news. I think it was this morning. Oxlade-Chamberlain has got a new baby, so that's why he weren't involved.
Yeah.
So it just the cards just fell perfectly for Harvey Elliott, and he had his chance, and he took it, didn't he? So it was boss to see. But before, like you said,
Thiago gets some minutes as well, because I'd imagine against Chelsea it probably will be Thiago, Hendo, and Fab. But I mean, I don't think Elliott. I doubt Elliott would start against Chelsea. It'd be very unexpected for me. But if he did, I'd be a lot more confident having seen his performance against Burnley than if it was just out the blue.
Yeah, I mean, if Klopp did it, we'd have trust in it, but I'd be very surprised. I mean, I would have been surprised he started yesterday, and he did. So, I mean, never say never, but I would be surprised if you threw him in against a Chelsea, which is a different proposition altogether. But yeah, like you said before, Harvey Elliott was the assist for the second goal. But before we get to that, there was a moment where Salah gets one rule for offside, and Harvey Elliott again. I think he kept picking up those positions where Trent usually is, and obviously Trent then just can't sometimes what used to was going inside, which was nice actually because we had a lot of players over on that side. But the ball from Harvey Elliott, and then obviously the ground is loving it because it was a great ball and a great finish, but then just slightly offside. And I think you've got to say that it was probably slightly offside, albeit like the play was top class, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's got that in it. I didn't realize how cute Elliott's passing was, and it's weird because obviously when you're watching it live at the stadium or on TV, you can sort of see most people on the pitch, and you can imagine what passes are on, what passes are off. And there's even passes that I'm watching, I'm like, that's not on, and he'll squeeze it through. And it was similar for the Salah thing. I mean, it was brilliant vision, and then to pick him out as well. It's just a shame that it was offside, but the fact that he's trying those difficult balls and they're coming through for him, it's just great. It's like you said before, it's another string to Liverpool's bow. It's not the workhorse midfield that we've become used to. He wants to go forward, he wants to attack, he wants to assist. Hopefully he'll get a goal soon as well.
Yeah, I mean he'll fucking love that one. But yeah, Klopp's, like I said before, Klopp's interview was great, saying that he's just like, he was made up. He was like a proud dad. He was like just so happy that he'd thrown him in, and he obviously had no doubts about doing it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have. But I think doing it at Anfield's a bit safer. Fans in the stadium, you get that back, and yeah, he ran his ass off all day. And like you said, that vision, he's got vision way beyond his years. Like just those passes that he sees, like just cuts two people up. That's like, you don't expect that from an 18-year-old. Like, he was just turned 18 in April. It's mad, but it's great for us that he's a boy at Red, and he's at the club, and he fucking hell, what a career he can have. Obviously, we don't want to build someone up that young up too early, but he's got all the tools, hasn't he, to be one of the best.
Yeah. I mean, the fact he's a Liverpool fan as well, he's being brought through the system. His loan last year, like we said on Friday, his loan did wonders. Apparently spending lots of time with Salah as well, like off, like in training and stuff, so taking care of himself properly. So if Klopp's very good at managing players, and if we can get this with Elliott, then the sky's really the limit for him, because he does look outstanding.
Yeah, definitely. But I've just put a comment in there about asking for man of the matches, which we'll get to at the end. But let's just fly through. Obviously, we've touched on the second goal. Mane opened his account for the season, which was, you could see on his face how happy he was and how delighted he was to get that. The ball from Van Dijk is just, I mean, it looks easy now because we're so used to it. It's just like a clip ball over the top, but it's into Elliott's chest. Great touch. The second touch is outside of the foot to Trent. Like I said, Trent's then taken Elliott's position because Elliott's in his position, which is just perfect, because obviously they work on that a lot in training. And then obviously the ball by Trent is also top class, but like you said, you also come to expect that of him because he's got that awareness, and he just clips it around the corner, and then he's basically put on a play for Mane to go, "Grab mate, to get your first goal." And yeah, it was boss to see, wasn't it? And a great team goal, and that kind of put like I said, after the offside goal, a bit of uncertainty whether Burnley might get a little jammy goal and get back in it, but that second one on 70 minutes, that just kind of settled everyone down, and then we can enjoy the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say more than what you said. The goal was brilliant, but to me, what it highlighted was the fluidity that we've got in attack, because our right back was like in the Firmino role. He's just on the edge of the box, in the inside. You don't usually see that, but this team clearly has, with one long ball from Van Dijk up, Burnley didn't know what the hell to do. They were caught, just not knowing what to do. Trent was pushing forward. Elliott was out wide. Burnley's defenders had to be like, "Who the hell am I supposed to mark here? What am I supposed to fucking do?" Because you don't plan to mark a right back, so it just causes absolute chaos. And then obviously Mane coming in from the left, and just I'm still in shock looking at the replay how much of a hole there is for Mane to run into, because obviously I think it's Ben Mee or Tarkovsky. It's pulled out, and then Trent just slips it through, and then at the end of the day, Mane just powers it home. But it's so exciting to see that we were that fluid against a team that last season caused us so much problems at the back. Like going forward last season, it was a complete contrast to Burnley at home last year. It was so good.
Yeah, well, James has just summed it up there. Our boss where we yesterday, and it was. I mean, there was a few moments where they got in, and it's just like Rivalry Asad just said that Alisson looking back to his best, superb yesterday. And we might as well talk about this because there was a few moments where there was one where he got caught off a free kick, but I think it was a clip free kick in, and I think it was a foul in the end. But the saves that he was making, he just off his line, little Cruyff turn early on in the game, which, to be honest, I did shit my pants a little bit when he did that. I had like flashback of Leicester, and I was like, oh shit, but he pulled it off nicely. And the only thing that maybe let him down is his kicking, but I mean, apart from that, he was out from his goal. His sweeper keeper extraordinaire, like he always is. He was boss again yesterday, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and the save towards the end as well. He's just,
yeah.
Our defense this year is back, and it's hard enough to get past the defense, but it has to be so disheartening the fact that when you, on the odd occasion that you do get past the defense, you've got this beautiful man mountain that's just not letting anything in at the moment. I know that all we've played is Norwich and Burnley, but 2 clean sheets on the bounce. Like, teams haven't figured out how to score against us yet this season. And it's only 2 games, and yes, Chelsea's going to be a challenge, a completely different challenge, completely different world of attack that we'll be facing. But the confidence that these boys have to be feeling right now, especially like just the defense, knowing that the rare mistake that they'll make or the rare ball been behind, Ali's there. It's just, even when players go through, I'm quite chill at the moment. And when I think it was Ashley Barnes went through, like literally the last minute of the game, I was like, oh well, this is Ali.
Yeah, I mean it's nice, and I mean obviously we did have Ali there last year, but it's just a completely. It's like we're playing a different game when you've got Van Dijk and Matip in there, and you've got Gomez and Kanate to call on from the bench if you need them. It's just that's why they're so good, and that's why the 4 lads that we've got to call from is probably the best 4 that you can have in world football, in my opinion. So we're very lucky at the minute, and let's hope that it stays that way. But yeah, I mean, obviously, before we come on to man of the match, we've got to talk about Tsimikas, because he was undoubtedly one of the best players yesterday, and I just think the moment in the 89th minute when you could see Gomez probably 1-1 up, probably thinking he might come on for me here, and he did. But just one of those moments where you're just like getting absolutely battered by 3 Burnley players. He falls over, gets back up, and then plays it back, and then keeps the ball. And then all the Burnley players are just going screaming for a free kick. That just summed up his game and summed up kind of the run of form that he's in. I mean, I'm not going to say that he's been fucking world class or whatever, but he's been really, really solid, hasn't he? And he's been available, and he's been. Yeah, like I think Klopp said after the game that he's had a lot of time to watch Robertson, and it's he said it's impossible. Klopp said it's impossible to replace Robertson, because Robertson is that good. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what that does to your mentality when someone is that good ahead of you. Because I mean, you can only imagine that you know that you're never going to play regularly anyway. So I mean, he's took the chance that he's got, hasn't he, with both hands, and he's done so well, hasn't
he? Yeah, I think Nico Williams needs to look at Tsimikas and look at Tsimikas' attitude, because Tsimikas didn't get a sniff last year, and how he's sort of studied Robbo, like you said, and just pushed on this year, and he looks great. And I fully expect Robbo to start next week if he's fit. But Tsimikas' performance, they have to like be in the back of Klopp's mind as to thinking whether should Tsimikas start, because honestly, he does deserve to start. He does deserve to play, because he's played so well. And yesterday he was great going forward. He was great defensively. And I saw your tweet before of, is this Tsimikas' Robbo versus Man City moment? And you know, I'd agree, because any other player, well, not any other player, but most players, like getting sandwiched between 3 big rough bastards would just stay on the floor. But he just gets up calmly, like dribbles past another one and passes it on, and the applause that he must have got, or must have felt like, when he must have felt like, women like, yeah, this is what I'm about. And the cross for the goal as well was beautiful. So look, big up the Greek Scouser.
I love the way he just does that hashtag after every game. I just hope he does it forever. But yeah, that moment, like I was in upper main stand, and literally everyone stood up. Like it was just one of them moments where it was just so nice that it happened with fans in. Because if that happens with no fans in, Klopp's probably just going, yes, Kostas, and everyone on the team's doing it. But when you've got 50-odd thousand people standing up and applauding you for a moment, really, that, I mean, it's not a goal or an amazing assist or whatever, but like you said, albeit he did get one of those. But it was just one of those moments where you had to have the fans in, and that was just, yeah, it was just perfect, and it was so nice to see. And obviously, then he went off and got another ovation, which he fucking thoroughly deserved, which was boss to see as well. But there's been loads of comments that I need to come back to, because we've just covered the game there. So let's talk about man of the match, which I asked earlier. And then we've got Kieran's coming with Tsimikas, which is fair enough. Rivalry aside, I've said Trent was outstanding at times. Yes, the vision he has is ridiculous. And yeah, let's talk about Trent and those crossfield passes that he does, which is just, look, we just expect them now, but they are very special, and it's why we're so good at pulling teams apart, because we can just switch play in a blink of an eye, and especially when you've got Trent in there, you've got Van Dijk in there. You've got Matip in there who are all capable of doing it. You've got Hendo in there who can do it as well. A lot of players there who are just the best in their position, but also have got that eye for the pass, which is just, it's boss to see, isn't it, at times?
Mate, the fact that we're used to that is disgusting.
Well, Gerrard did it for years, didn't he? And we came accustomed to that. But now we've got loads of them that you can just go bang, 60-yarder, off you go.
The fact that he does it and we're like, all right, well, come on, you have to do something better.
Yeah, well, there was that one, I think it was last year before, where he kind of, off a throw-in, he volleyed it. It curled round Van Dijk.
Yeah, Man City.
Yeah, we're like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck's he just done? Couldn't realise if it went behind Van Dijk or in front of him. It was that mad. But yeah, it's just
to the point that I'll watch other football matches, and the right back will get the ball, and I'm just
and you're going
to the left wing. I could just do it. Easy.
Yeah, you see the left winger about 100 yards away going, the ball's on there, mate. What are you doing? But players, like normal players, can't. I mean,
he's
a lot of players probably could do it, but he's just
so young.
Yeah,
he's so young as well. And I think we touched on it a lot last year that there were shouts for him to come into the midfield, but I think from right back, he's perfect because he's got more time. He's got the whole field ahead of him, which is great for someone with such great vision and ability as him. And then no one marks a right back. This man was like, for like we said before, he was in the Bobby role when he assisted Mane. Like the fact that teams are going to have to mark him is just an extra weapon, because if you're having to mark a right back, there's a space somewhere else on the pitch. He's incredible.
Yeah, especially when we get Fab back in the team and Hendo is then on the right-hand side. Obviously, Hendo played the 6 yesterday and he'd done it so well. I don't want to praise Danny Murphy for match of the day, but he did do a little clip of Hendo's passes yesterday, which was nice. But yeah, he's just such an asset, and the sooner we get that contract sort of a Hendo, the better, because I think then we get the best out of Trent as well if we keep Hendo around as long as we can. Yeah, so also we've got Paul's back on again with another comment. Great games yesterday. Mini Robbo was great, and Harvey too. What else have we got? Aiden's in as well. Morning, Aiden, mate. You okay? That second was classed by the team. Matip or Tsimikas, man of the match for me. Yeah, I mean, there's loads of shouts, isn't he? Really, when you're looking through these, see, there's any others apart from the ones you've mentioned. Aiden's just said Javier unbelievable for his first start. I think there's. And Kieran's put Matip was excellent. Yeah, there's a lot of players, wasn't there, yesterday, that you could say was man of the match, really. But who would you go with?
I don't think he was man of the match per se, but I think Naby Keita was very good as well. And I am surprised at how long in Premier League games he's lasting. It's sort of like he's got the rest that he needed last year, and now we're starting to see maybe the Leipzig Naby Keita, the Naby Keita that we signed, because he's lasting in games. It got to like the 60th minute, and I was like, got to take him off just so he doesn't break down. Got to take him off. Got to take him off. And it was still until the 80th minute, and he was still great. There was I think it was him, Shimikas, and Mane down the left, where they were literally playing like keep it up over Burnley players, and it looked like he was like completely out of control. But he just sort of flicks it with his back heel, and it goes over. Let's just random Burnley, just to say Brownhill, because I don't know who the fuck it was.
They're all the same.
And it falls perfectly to Mane, and it looks effortless for him. So I'm really glad that we're getting to see Keita. But for me, the man of the match would probably have to be either Shimikas or Matip, and I'm going to go Shimikas just because he provided the assist. That moment at the end, he was very solid. And you know how Klopp said he was tired against Norwich, and you could see the drop off. We didn't see a drop off yesterday, so that was I think the fact that it's so new to him, the Premier League as well, in terms of it's only his second start. I think he smashed it. So I'm going to go with Costas.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said, he didn't tire, and the moment that we've just been talking about, where he was having like a wrestling match with 4 Burnley players, was in the 89th minute. So that tells you that his heart's in it, and he wants to make the best of his Liverpool career, and hopefully he does get more minutes, especially when like Robbo was on the bench yesterday, which I couldn't fucking believe, to be honest with you. The fact that that injury looks so bad, and he's back on the bench, and he was, like we said, he'd be surprised if Robbo doesn't start against Chelsea next Saturday, because he's that good. It's too hard. It's too hard to leave him out, to be honest. But James just put, if we were able to keep players like Matip, Keita, Fab, usually get injured fit, would you class us as favourites or thereabouts for the title? What do you reckon?
If we can keep them fit, I wouldn't say that we're favourites. I'd just say we're about a level with City. I think City are very good, and I think we're very good as well. But they're too good to just write them off, Man City. Especially with a manager like Pep. I hate him, but you've got to give them credit where credit's due. We've been doing very well for the last few years, but they've been doing very well as well. So to write them off just because we can keep a couple more players fit, I think it's a bit unfair, but it definitely improves our chances. I'd say if they can stay fit, it's definitely between us and them, and it'll be a tight one. But it's key to keep them fit, because if we keep them fit, I'm not worried about squad depth. It's if players start falling off and getting injured that we look a bit thin. But for now, we look like we've got depth for days.
Yeah, it's like I said, we said on the previous show, there's me that like it's the being reliant on the players that we've not relied on in the past. That is maybe what people are worried about, which I understand. But 36 more wins and we're sound. So we're already 3 points up on Cities.
Easy.
But yeah, let's have a look through other shouts. Yeah, Doug's just put in Henderson was brilliant yesterday, missed his driving runs and passing from midfield. I think even when you were talking about man of the match yesterday, you kind of overlook, in a way, like Trent and Hendo, because you'd expect it. And then you look at the likes of Tsimikas, because he's all a bit new. He's new into the squad and whatever, in terms of like playing games regularly and playing in pre-season, and then now playing 2 in a row in the Premier League. So you notice it more, don't you? I think that's why he probably stood out. But yeah, there's so many shouts man of the match, which was nice. So Dan's just put, is Kostas surpassing Sotirios Kyriakos as our best ever Greek?
Not yet.
Oh.
No. It's not close yet.
Big Soto.
League on his own.
I loved Big Soto, I'm probably one of very few that just thought he was hilarious, just because he was boss in the air, and he scored a few goals for us, but yeah, he just ran like he was running in treacle.
A lot scarier than he actually was. When we signed him, I was like, oh shit, man's about to snap some legs. Ocelot, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, that moment in the derby where he went in for the 50-50 with I think it was Fellaini, and then he ended up getting sent off. That still annoys me, but don't even get me started on that. But James has just put, Van Dijk smashing them 50-yard passes late to nothing is such a change from Nat and Williams. Yeah, it is. I mean, Nat and Williams fucking helped us finish third, so they'll forever going to be fucking heroes for that. But when you've got the likes of Van Dijk and Matip and whatever in the team, it's like having a cheat code, because they're both massive, they're both quick, they're both good on the ball, they're both good at everything. So it must be like Chris Wood and Barnes yesterday. No wonder, like Barnes, like we haven't even touched on the Barnes fucking goal where he scores and it's offside, and he goes to the cop like that.
Liverpool fans like fuck you, and then like
And then he looks around and goes, "Ah, fuck, I'm a knobhead." You saw the realization on his face, like, "I'm a fucking knobhead. What am I do? What have I done?"
Yeah.
But yeah, it must be coming up against those two, and they're good at everything. It must just fill you with dread, mustn't it? Having to come up against them.
Mate, commentator said yesterday that the only way that Burnley are going to get a goal is by playing on the edge, and more than likely they're going to be offside. But that's all you can do. That they're quick, they're strong, they're dominant. What do you do against defenders like that? Especially when your game's purely physical, and these guys are more physical than you. Where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster. Like there's nothing you can do. I mean, obviously then you start to cry ass into the ref, asking for fouls and whatever else, even though they kept falling over at every opportunity, which was just hilarious. But rivalry aside, again in the comments, that Anfield crowd at the start of the game was incredible. Full house at Anfield, been a long overdue. And I think so this is Ben. I think I'll be at Man City home game. Mick will get the bevies in. Definitely. I think I'm sorted for Chelsea ticket next week, so I'm hoping I'll be able to go to that one, which will be can't wait. Honestly, can't wait. But Dan's just put Trent was unreal again, but for me, Virgil was man of the match. Literally, I mean, I'm not laughing at that because it's funny. I'm laughing because we haven't even mentioned Virg, but it's just we've mentioned everyone else but him. But yeah, literally the reason we played the way we did yesterday was 2v1 a few times around the box and just dealt with it easily. Slide and block, incredible. Oh, yeah, that slide. You see that slide and block he did? I mean, he doesn't usually slide like that. No. But yeah, he's just. I just love. I don't know if I've ever loved a Liverpool player more than him. To be honest,
it's so disheartening as a striker or an attacker for the other team if you get past like Matip or Trent and you're like, oh, I'm through on goal here. And then you just see, or you just probably hear these fucking footsteps and boom, boom. You're like, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it must be frightening, mustn't it? It really must be.
You've got to be thinking in your head, what do I do? What can you do? It's not exaggerating here because against sort of Nat Phillips or Reece Williams, you'd fancy yourself in a sprint race. You'd fancy yourself maybe to barge Reece Williams off the ball.
Yeah.
When you're coming up against a Van Dijk, though, you more than likely you need him to make a mistake, which are rare, for you to get any joy out of him. Like you need what happened against Berlin in his first game back, where he dove in,
slips, yeah,
and Jovetic basically he made a mistake and Jovetic capitalized. But any other instance, it's very unlikely you're getting any loose change out of Virgil van Dijk, and that has to suck.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a quote, wasn't he, from Troy Deeney? I don't know when it was, a couple of years ago, where he was like, he's big, he's fast, he's a nightmare to play against, and he smells terrific or something, he says, which is just, mate, he's just, poor bastards who have to come up against them. Doug's just put, Mick keeps wearing Boss t-shirts, by the way. Actually, yeah, good shout. We're talking about Van Dijk. There you go. Get on that. Is right design for that one if you want to get some of them fucking Boss stuff on there. Let's have a look what else we've got. We've got Kieran. He did have a wobbly start though, but then settled shockingly well. Van Dijk was lost 2 out of 3 aerial duels early on, which I was surprised by. But then again, Woods is a big boy, so is Van Dijk. Yeah, I think there was a few, to be fair, at the beginning where he was Woods was kind of backing into him, and I think, like you said, with the thing that happened in pre-season, that was quite a few weeks ago, and he's had a load of training since then. It's still only his second Premier League game. Who knows how long it'll be until he's like, right, now I'm back to what I was before the injury. It could be a while, couldn't it? It could be 2 weeks, could be 3 weeks, could be 4 weeks. So you just don't know.
I don't think he's not going to be like back to full, Player of the Year, Premier League Player of the Year, Van Dijk for a while. It's a big injury. It's not, you can't just laugh off an ACL injury. And the fact is, and I think a lot of teams are going to fall foul to this, that teams are probably going to target him. And it's weird thinking that teams are going to target Van Dijk, but do it at your peril, because you might win the aerial duel, which is unlikely anyway, but you might win it, but he's still a colossus. If you want to target Van Dijk, go for it. But if you do get past him, rare. But if you do, you've got Matip there sweeping up, or you've got Trent, or you've got Robbo Jr. So
Robbo Jr.
It'll be a while till he's back at peak levels. But even Van Dijk, how he is now, he's still unbelievable.
Yeah, because I mean, I think a lot of rival fans were thinking maybe, is he going to come back the same? And I was like, I've got really no worries, because even if he loses a bit of pace, he's still got that game intelligence. He's still 6'4". He's still going to be quick-ish if he lost a bit of pace, and he's still got all those attributes. I think that's why he can play until whenever he wants. He could probably play till he's like 35 odd, because he's still got that. He's still got that game intelligence, and he's still got that positional awareness where he can snuff stuff out. Like Sami Hyypiä, perfect example, was never quick, but just had the game intelligence to know where to be at the right time. And I think Virgil van Dijk is Sami Hyypiä, who's quick in a way. So
he signed for us in January 2018, right?
I think so, yeah.
I didn't see him sprint until like May 2019, where he got like Son in the Champions League final, and it didn't even look like a sprint. He just sort of like graceful jog into just a little bit quicker and poke the ball away. Like, you don't see him sprinting. Usually he like gets off the field without putting a sweat on. At least that's how it looks. So if he loses a bit of pace, fine, but he's got it covered. He doesn't sprint anyway, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, okay, and just said there for sure Van Dijk will be pairing around Christmas, which is like the fact that we're talking about this and saying that Van Dijk isn't at his best, but we're also saying that he was probably one of the best players yesterday, is fucking great news. And like you said, he doesn't ever sprint. I think that, like you said, the one against Spurs, there was one against Barca where they broke away in a counter attack, and he just absolutely legged it back. But it didn't look like he was running, but he just like glided. And I think Sergio Busquets like tried to grab his shirt back because he knew if he stops Van Dijk getting back, then they might score. That tells you everything. If you stop Van Dijk, you stop Liverpool in a way. But yeah, I mean, 36 minutes there. Like, let's wrap up. I think you said Tsimikas man of the match. So yeah, I think I'd have to give it to him as well. I think obviously Trent, boss, Matip was boss. All of the back five were, let's be honest, class. Then you've got Henderson, boss, Harvey Elliott, fucking hell, yeah, loads. I mean, just going to sit on the fence and say boss team performance probably. But
the team with men of the match. Should we do that?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's just be an absolute bad knobhead and just sit on the fence and say the team was the man of the match. But yeah, we'll leave it there, lad. Nice one, Matt, for jumping on nice and early on a Sunday morning, 20 to 12. If you like the video, drop us a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, then please do. We recently passed 1k subs, which was boss, and we're on the track to 2k. So I mean, it's a long way off. I mean, we're not fucking living our lives just checking YouTube every day going, oh, are we close yet? But yeah, if you want to help us get us there, then that would be boss. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever you get your podcast, then yeah, nice one for listening. And we'll probably be back. We've got Chelsea on Saturday, so we'll probably be back Friday night after like we did this week, where we can get Klopp's press conference over, and then we can delve into what he said, because obviously there's news that whether Fabinho might play and Thiago and Hendo, and I'm sure we'll find out more after that. So we can have a chat about that once it's all done and dusted. But yeah, nice one, Math, jumping in. Nice one with the comments. The fucking comments have been boss. We said we were going to do 20 minutes before we started. We've now done 40, which is double, and that's thanks to using the comments for being boss. But nice one, everyone, and we'll be back on Friday. Have a good Sunday, and we'll see you all in a bit.